We're good? Okay. So we'll start, in 3, 2, 1, go. So the setting is actually kind of similar to like our world. There's a lot of technology. Everyone's got something called a personal terminal, which is basically like a all-encompassing smart device, and inside it are net navies. And here's the first folder edit. Okay. And at the start of every game, there's 6 entries in this series, and it starts with the tutorial. And the tutorial actually doesn't change much throughout the series. It's a pretty good introduction. This is a Mega Man game, but it's the least Mega Man game. The combat takes place in real time on this grid. At the start, you're dealt 5 of the chips from your folder at random, normally. And for the first fight, it gives you 2 cannons. You can take any same type of chip, so like multiple cannons, or if the chips have the same code, like these are both S-coded, you can take them. And this is the first instance of like where I do something specifically for RNG manipulation. Instead of using the white sword, I'm going to go up here and get this guy down to 17 health. Each buster shot advances RNG by 1, so we're going to get him down to 17. Take a couple hits, then use the white sword, follow it up with a cannon. And the third fight, the third tutorial actually has a random chip draw. It's the only one in the series that does that, but we can manipulate that. So instead of getting random chips, I get 3 cannons, so I can end it in 1 turn to 3. The star code was introduced in Battle Network 2, so. And there's Mr. Match. He's a recurring character. We'll see him more later. Yeah, Mr. Match. But now this is Lance's computer. We're basically on the internet. As you can tell, he's running Internet Explorer. Tuck the glide here. And I'm doing very specific movements. It'll look kind of strange, like I'm going out of the way. And I'm also going to save and reset a lot. Whenever you soft reset, that restarts the random number generator, which controls everything random in the game. So I'm only going to get the encounters that I want. Like, I'm going to reset in this corner, I'm going to run left. And then I'm going to get an encounter with a fishy and a cannon. I'm going to draw area grab and a white sword. And then we're going to do 1 buster shot, and I'm going to get a double delete so that I get dash G, which will be a very useful chip later. So yeah, that's pretty much this run in a nutshell, yeah. The movement's very specific. I'm intentionally running into all the walls to get my step counter the same once I get to each corner, and taking the same number of turns. So here we're going to use 6 buster shots. I'm going to get hit twice and use the mini bomb to get rank 5, which will get me Mech Guard G, which Mech Guard G dash G, similar to the area grab and white sword, we'll be using those in the combo later. Correct. In order to beat the game, you have to get 2 key items. One requires you to have 60 unique chips in your library, and the other one requires you to have Mega Man at level 30. And so we'll be working towards that across the run. Yes. Pretty much with the amount of control we have over the random number generator, there isn't any RNG in the run, so everything is fully mapped out, completely planned and all intentional. So that makes it an interesting run to watch, but after you've done it a time or two, the novelty does sort of wear off. Oh, right. The oven's on fire. It's probably a virus. We're going to run down here. And even though the internet's very bland, they did a lot of work on the dungeons. They made them a lot more interesting and sort of thematic, giving them all different themes. And this is a fixed fight, Scimitar. I'm going to do 2 Buster Shots, and we're going to get Shockwave K. Shockwave's a really good chip. We'll be using it a lot later on. And we're going to run to the end without getting an encounter. Correct. Yep, we got a nice speed. And here I'm actually going to walk instead of run. If you walk, when you get the encounter checks is different than if you run. Because you get an encounter check every 64 steps. Running is twice as fast as walking, so you get the encounter checks twice as fast. This gives the random number generator time to cycle through more numbers and give us checks on different frames. So sometimes you walk instead of run to get no encounters, or the encounter that you want. I think that's the only time we actually use it. We used to use it a lot more, but the route's gone through a lot of iterations. But we're using the ice block that the prog gave us to put out these fires. There's branching paths, and some have more mystery data than the others. Those are like chests. They contain items, some are random, some are fixed. I turned too soon. Well, actually in Battle Network 1, the color is means almost nothing. They didn't start getting consistent with that until 2. And this is a Vulgar. He moves randomly, but I know he's going to go down and then up, so we can beat him and get Fire Tower, which is a nice chip. It's a unique one for the library, and so actually this is Fireman, and just to sort of like prove that everything in this game is completely fixed. Huh? Oh yeah, you should probably hold it up. Anyway, this is Fireman. He's random in what he moves. I drew 4 swords. It's in slot 1, 2, 3, and 5. Now Fireman moves around randomly, and you can't hear him until he attacks. So I'm basically listening for when he attacks. And I'm baiting him to come to the front to use swords. So now we just got to dodge a couple of his attacks. There's the fire. He's dead. Nice Fireman. So you don't even need to look at this game to beat it.
That was really interesting fight.
Yeah. And that ends the first day. Well, you do exactly 1 full edit before Fireman, and it used to happen closer to him, but now we just do it at the very beginning because we manipulate the tutorial as well, since that's random. And then here you just gotta talk to everyone. This is your friend Yai. You just tell her you don't care. If someone wants to fight, we'll fight him later. You actually turn around when you talk to NPCs, and they try to face towards you by reversing your direction. That's Higgsy. He's really cool. He's got nice hair. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I never saw it coming. Oh, and this is folder edit number 2. So the folder edits are very specific. If you mess them up, that's really bad. So I'm going to save, and we're just going to follow these notes. So it's like down A, R down A, L down A, down A, R down, A. What was that? Up twice, A, hold R, A, down, move, and then put in Fire Power and Shock. That's folder edit. So we took out 2 chips and we put in Shockwave and Fire Tower. We'll use those later. And then shuffled a couple things around so that way for this first fight we're going to draw Shockwave, which does 60 damage. Previously, like, the highest damage in a folder was 80, but it's short range, so at a distance you can do Mini Bomb, which is a lob for 50. So Shockwave is a really useful chip. We'll be using it a lot. Here we're going to trick him into moving back, and then get a double kill for another Quake 1A. So I got Quake 1A in 3D Fight, and I got Quake 1A here. These will be really useful in the next 2 bosses. You'll see why once you get to them. The music in this dungeon is actually probably the best for the series. And it's interesting what they did with it. This door actually parallels the one in front of Lan's classroom. And it puts you in control of him. And each door sort of has like a hint at what the password is. That one is how many chairs are in class 5B, which is where Lan is. So I think it's kind of neat how they do that, where Lan and Mega Man have to help each other in order to beat the dungeon.
Yeah. I'm not sure, does it happen more in this game?
It's the only time where you do that in this game in particular. It happens in a couple others, like I think the zoo comp in 3 might let you do it, and I know the aquarium comp in 6 lets you do that.
Well, technically,
Oh, the power plant?
there's more places.
Yeah, hate that place.
Everyone hates the power plant.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no. So those doors, they're not RNG, they're just different. How I like to say it. Because the value that those doors get is the number of frames that the game has been running, mod 100. So that's not, like if you soft reset, that doesn't, they're not tied to the RNG at all. They use a completely different thing. So in order to manipulate those, you would have to do a hard reset, and even then, you would need like frame perfect menuing in order to get anything consistent. So instead, we just have a pattern for guessing, and you can get any number in 6 guesses or less, which is the requirement. You're gonna have to like put it right here, closer, closer. Yeah, and speaking to the top of it.
Great. What?
And then
I hate you.
here, Mega Man gets sort of stuck. There's like something wrong with one of the computers there, so Lan has to go down here and actually restart the computer in order to free him so that they can continue. So again, just more with the back and forth. So it tells you if you're too low or too high, and then you just sort of use that information to change your guess. This is the next edit.
That's how it's setting up for the
Yes. And then we put in 4 quake, and then we reset. So we should be able to run to the end now. And you need an ID in order to advance. You're going to pick up Repair A again for that 60 chip requirement. And when you talk to your teacher, you can actually choose not to help her, and then so it's interesting that's even an option. And then she gives you her ID, which you can use to access the next area. And this one actually, shouts to Methodical, found a setup for Number Man. Previously, he was one of the final things that we manipulated. This is too low. I went too far. So I need to stop after I get the password. Second digit too low. That's 29. I'll stop here. And then watch the background. I might have been a little. Can be. Gonna have to reset. I needed to get 3 quakes there.
So what's the
I'm using it as a visual cue because the audio is not that good. So that's what we're watching for. This 4 right here, when it goes all the way down, and I pushed a little earlier last time. And this fight is really bad if you don't get the manipulation. So it's worth like resetting for it. I'm gonna do these dusty shots here. And I'm gonna take 2 quakes to the cannon. Wait, that's really strange. Yeah, I guess that's right. Need to do 2 more. His attacks is he'll throw out dice and stuff in the number balls once he gets below half health, but he stays in the back. So if you don't have quakes, like the best damage we got is like the mini bombs and the cannon and stuff, and those don't flow very well, and that fight can take forever. So it was worth resetting in order to get the manipulation on him.
That fight can definitely last a while if you don't get the right shit through.
It's probably the longest fight in the entire run. Well, that's the end of the second scenario. Now we can go over to our friend's house. And like everything's electronic, everything's sort of connected to the internet. Like we're gonna go into our friend's piano here and pick up a couple things.
Everything. I think more importantly, everywhere you go, there's goodies. There's like
there's mystery data hidden
things.
everywhere. So we're going to use Shockwave. Ghosts move randomly, they're really annoying, but I'm going to trick them into jumping down onto the Shockwave, so easy win there. To pick up the Invis, another chip for the library. And then we're just going to go to the end without an encounter and pick up this GMD, which is a Rika 50, which is for the library, but it's also something you need in order to advance the story. We want to use the Metro line, but there was a landslide, so no one can use it. And he says that
the virus did it.
it's probably a virus. Viruses can cause landslides, and then anyway. Save just in case. Here we're going to do a folder edit. This is for Gutsman. RA down A. Okay. That looked right. So now this is actually an audio cue. We're going to continue. After that beat. Might have been a little late, but no. So I got 3 quakes, and now we're just going to wait for him to move. And now I'm using Fire Tower. Hopefully he comes to the front. Okay. Now we just need like a shockwave or a shotgun to finish him off. There.
That seems just about right.
Yeah. So just enough damage to take him out. Again, using quakes there because he likes to move around. He doesn't spend that much time in the front. So swords wouldn't be that good. So quakes are really effective on those 2 bosses.
So was that whole sequence of chips planned or just the first draw?
The entire sequence.
Okay.
It's like, we have like, the problem with setups like that is that you can't control every single chip. Instead, you're looking for a window and overlaps.
Right.
And so we found like an 11 frame window that drew the same 6 or so chips. And so we're able to fix those accordingly, but not all of them.
That makes sense.
So anything, basically if you can run into the fight, like for these random encounters I'm running into the fight, we have complete manipulation there. If it's a dialogue that you have to go through, then we have partial control. So there's a few places like that. Anytime I use an audio setup or like the visual background, those are partial control. That's why Numbermen and Gutsmen aren't the fastest.
Do games past Battle Network 1 use the same RNG, or does it become different later on?
With each game, they change how RNG works.
Each game?
Yeah. So 1 is complete control, 2 is partial control, 3 you can do folder stacking, and then starting with 4, you can't really, there's no RTA viable manipulation. think it's supposed to wiggle twice there. So say wiggle. Basically, RNG advances once each frame, and every time you change direction, you pause for 1 frame. So if I am running against the wall and I change direction twice, that advances RNG by 2. And allows me to get different encounters. So like previously I only wiggled once and I got that. You do it twice and then you get dash G. So by killing frames using turns like turning like that, you can get all sorts of different setups. And we're going to use Quake and a single Buster Shot. Because the RNG doesn't advance while in battle. So we can use Buster Shots, which anything random inside the fights will. And Buster Shots summon a particle effect, which has a random starting position. Okay, Stone Man, this one's pretty easy. We're just removing a bunch of chips. And then putting in all of the... Got my card A instead of G.
Wait, don't you have a G as well?
Yeah, I have 1 G.
You need more.
I actually have 2 Gs. I should have 3. I'm gonna need to get 1 more. Anyway, those go in first, and then we'll put in... where'd they go? There. And then Gutsman, and then the other... Okay, I need to get another one. Hopefully the one that I draw isn't A. If it is, we'll switch. Because the next boss is coming up, Stone Man. That's weird. I must have not moved enough. Maybe I didn't get hit. It's probably too fast.
Well, you did get a G though, so it doesn't...
So we'll sort that out here in a second. But this is Stone Man, and this is where we get to use our first program advance now that we have Gutsman. And he's got 600 health, so we're going to use 2 dash attacks, as well as Gut Shoot. And everything's decoded, so we can take it all in 1 turn instead of multiple. Gut Shoot does 500 damage. Gutsman shows up and throws Mega Man forward. Program advances are pretty powerful. Most of the ones in 1 actually aren't that good, or too hard to get. But,
a lot of them in 1 are just select multiple of the same chip, and you get to use that chip a whole bunch.
yeah, sort of like sword, wide sword, long sword. Oh yeah, those program advances as well. So I don't remember how to get Make RG off the first encounter, so we'll just do the first 2, since I know that'll work. Oh right, I edited my folder. Let's make RG. Man, all these are like the same too. I need long. We still got steel. Make RG for. Was G coded? Okay. There's a 50% chance. Hopefully we got it.
Wait, what do you need off of this fight?
The correct RNG value. I'm gonna get another dash G, but that can't really be helped. I don't think it'll mess up any future folder X though, because I want to go on to the next one to get Mech RG,
Right.
which is what I actually need.
That makes sense.
We used to have it set up they got Mech RG first, but I don't remember it. I can't do that. So I got Shockwave, and now it's 5 Buster Shots. I think I did this one too quickly, so I'm just going to wait until I get hit twice. This one was probably like sub 5 seconds, so I got Mech RG instead of G. So now let's do Mech RG A, Mech RG, and Mech RG for...
White sword.
So that fixed the folder. That was a bit of a setback. Okay, Stoneman's dead. Gotta talk to this guy to start a side quest, and now we can go to the next area. Yeah, I guess I must have did one of the previous fights. Either I didn't move enough to lose the movement bonus, or I went too quickly and I got the time bonus, so just was not paying attention there.
But you do absolutely need that third midcard G, don't you?
The third one just
Or-
ensures that I'll. Oh, I got to talk to this
That
person.
you'll always draw one? Or
Uh,
at least enough?
Yeah, there's a couple fights like Skullman and Lekman that have dialogue or triggers before them
Right.
that don't allow us to have complete control. So we've got partial control, so that's why we're looking for the windows. And having multiple chips allows you to sort of guarantee that you get what you need for the program advance.
You ever get more than one Gutsman action?
No,
Okay.
because that would take too long. You'd have to fight Gutsman a second time, and Gutsman is one of those like
Yeah.
partial minutes since it's got a dialogue option.
Right, so that's not really reliable at all.
Yeah, but we can pick up multiple dash and mech guard. So getting 2 extra of each doesn't take that much time, and
Right.
it allows us to speed up some of the later Navi fights. I just got the wrong code on one of them. Oh, I didn't buy the ticket ahead of time. Oops. So you can actually skip the cutscene of going through the turnstile. And normally you buy tickets ahead of time. It saves a very minor amount of time. That ends that day. So read these emails. Your dad sends you an HP memory and a power up. We'll use power ups later. And then Mel gives you her net address, which we'll use later, I think. Actually, use it somewhere. Oh, and this kid's cool. Watch how he,
What?
just that movement. That's so funny.
That's some real strong zigzagging.
Yeah. I couldn't explain it at first, because when you talk to NPCs, like if you stand above them, they'll like face up. So he does have like a sprite where he's looking straight up, but they don't have running animation up. The NPCs, when they're moving by themselves, they only ever move like up left, up right, down left, down right.
They only ever move diagonally.
Yeah. So they don't have like straight up or down animations. So
I mean, it does make sense because the world's isometric, but at the same time, land does have a straight down running animation.
So I guess that was one of the few times where they needed it, and they said, just make him zigzag. I already had the ticket. I really like the music in this game.
Yeah, the music in this, well, in the whole series is really good, honestly.
So someone stole all of the water, so we gotta go get it back. This is Chad, he's our best friend, but he's really busy, so we don't get to hang out very long. Now we need to get into the waterworks. The kids aren't allowed in the waterworks, so we gotta go pretend to be someone else. So we're gonna go borrow our dad's ID. I'm sure he won't need it.
I know, I'll borrow this for a bit.
We never
And
get it back.
He just cuts it off.
Yeah. I think it'd be pretty funny if in the second game you look at it and says, weird, this coat is missing an ID.
I wonder why.
Now we're in the waterworks.
Scientists inconspicuously standing in front of the water cooler. I think
Yeah.
that's a water cooler.
I don't know what it is exactly. Alright, we're gonna have a secret conversation with Dr. Tterraj here. And then go here. Yeah, if you talk to that scientist, he says he's like fixing something. If you talk to one of the other scientists, he's like, there sure are a lot of kids running around today, because Chad came by and now we're here. Alright, so I'm gonna get Recap 200 and run into this corner. And we're gonna set up. Hopefully, okay, yeah. I like this fight. Piranha's got a lot of health, so we have to use a bunch of chips. But we got enough to get it. And then we get rank 9 to get Tri-Spear G. So, you remember like we used dash attack previously? Basically that Tri-Spear is going to replace those 2 dash attacks for the additional damage. Because Guts shoot only does 500. And if any boss has more than 500 HP, which most do, we'll need to come up with additional damage.
Right. to think what the boss with the highest HP is in this game.
I mean, excluding the final boss, probably base has 1,000. I don't know if anyone else comes close. Bomb Man's got 800, so maybe him.
Yeah, maybe Bomb
Or it could be like Shadow Man, one of the secret bosses. Especially like the V3 farms. I'm just thinking of V1 right now.
Yeah, I'm thinking of V1s, just like main story stuff mostly.
Oh yeah, for main story stuff it'd be Bomb Man. He's got the highest health of anything we fight in any percent. So now we're going to the waterworks. Because every game needs a water dungeon.
This dungeon is, I don't know, I am not a fan of this dungeon.
The ice lets you buffer movement, so it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Gives you options for different setups. Just as well not have it, but you know.
I mean, it's like, it's not a bad dungeon. I just don't really enjoy it.
I was gonna say it's a short trip to Six Flags.
Yeah, we
Cool. So we go through that whole area. Oh, hey, here's Proto Man. He insults us and run away. Not very nice, Proto Man.
He does that.
Oh, I didn't save. I shouldn't get a random encounter. I was supposed to reset before that. Yeah. And then whenever you interact with one of these objects, there's a lot of things in the game that will actually reset your step counter. So that reset my step counter, and then if I go into this corner and do the save and reset, that resets the RNG. So that combination allows me to resume RNG manipulation. And there's actually, like, you can take maybe 300 steps in an area before you get into a random encounter. So we take advantage of that to like move into the first corner of an area. Alright. And now we're gonna go to the next area. And this is actually kind of a long setup. Instead of like resetting here, we just chain from the previous area and go a little farther. So the longer the setup is, the fewer save and resets it takes. But also it means if you mess up any section of it, you have to reset back to the previous area. And then this little ice puzzle here.
Really barely even a puzzle.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, I went down the wrong path. Let me do the whole thing again.
Yeah, it really is just trial and error.
I'm gonna save here. We're gonna do a trick.
What are people laughing at?
Okay. So I stepped onto a cutscene trigger, and I'm actually going to save into it and reset, and then when I start the game back up, I skip the first cutscene and go straight to the second cutscene. You can do that in a lot of places. There's a few that you can't, but what's cool is that by skipping that particular cutscene, that trigger, there was a virus fight that was loaded at the end of the cutscene. You skip the cutscene, you also skip the virus fight.
I think that'll come into play more later as well.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially.
Oh, and then now that we've fixed the waterworks, all of the water's back, but even better, it's been replaced by grape soda. That guy drinks it, and he's had his fill of grape soda.
I think he overdosed with sugar.
Yeah. So people are a little upset. We got to go back and turn it into regular water. So we're going to go down here, get an email, and then we're going to go back here. And now if we interact with this car, it's actually spring-loaded to shoot out children. Cool. And that's actually Freud's son, who was held hostage in an abandoned parked car that anyone could open.
That is not a very good place for a hostage, I don't think.
That's the logic of the World 3 here. Now that we've rescued him, we're going to go back and tell Freud to stop polluting the water.
I think it's kind of interesting that the game tries to convince you that they're really threatening, and then everything they do is just kind of a joke.
Yeah. Their plans are well thought out, especially some of the ones in BN2.
Oh lord. The ones in BN2 are great.
But we don't play necessarily for the plot, we play for the combat.
That is true, actually.
Which, if you haven't tried any of these games, if the combat looks interesting to you, do give them a try.
The combat is by far the strong point of this series. The story is not, generally. I mean, it's like corny anime bullshit, basically.
That's good enough to get you to keep playing.
That's just about the most appropriate description I've heard.
I forgot to wiggle. Oh, and I turned too soon there. So there are a lot of random encounters that I'm trying to run around. And a lot of it's just memorization. And if you forget when you need to turn, you can end up just running into a bunch of them. There we go.
What's that? Your Six Flags alarm? Wait, it actually is. Close enough. I don't understand why this dungeon has to be as long as it is.
Part of it is the fact that it's like broken up into 2 sections.
I guess.
It's the only one that you like have to revisit. And this is where we were on the first visit, but you couldn't get past that because you needed a handle that you got from Freud's son. I think it's also named Freud. I'm a little unclear on that. Freud Jr.
Yeah, it could be.
I hope you like the first 5 seconds of the music because that's about all you ever get to hear.
It's not exactly the strongest dungeon music in this game in the first place.
I like the music in the Waterworks, honestly.
I think it's alright, but I don't know. It's not as good as like the first 2 dungeons.
Well, the second one basically got the best theme in the game, so it's tough to follow.
Well, I mean, it's basically the hero theme for this game, but still.
Yeah. And they realized later on that, oh, we should probably use that elsewhere. Not in the second dungeon. So this area is neat. It's like a little puzzle, but if you go stand about right here, I'll say just in case, and you walk upward, you can slide in between 2 holes and basically skip the first half of the puzzle where you have to fall into different pits to activate different faucets to give you access to more pits that you can then fall into. And if you fall into a wrong one, you have to go all the way back to the beginning of the area.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
There's a lot of walking and a lot of encounters. To compensate for that, they actually drastically reduced the encounter rate, which allows us to get out of here pretty easily without any random encounters. You don't even actually have to do any soft resets.
Actually, didn't even know they reduced the encounter rate there. That does make sense.
Yeah, each area actually has a different encounter curve. They're similar for the most part, but there's enough variance in it that having access to that information allowed us to come up with a couple better setups in a few locations.
That's really interesting. I thought it was just the same just about everywhere, but...
Nah. Waterworks 5, the previous area, as well as all of the power plant has reduced encounter rates because they expect you to walk a lot more in those. Obviously when we get to the power plant, it'll make sense why. It's all the backtracking.
Yeah, the power plant is pretty awful.
Cool. And we're coming up to the next boss, Iceman. Proto Man's already beat him. Oh, but no, he's fine again, never mind. And this is,
I don't think he's finding.
man, we're gonna use Get Shoot on him. So
I don't think he's fine at all.
there's not too much left to say. He's pretty nice boss. I like some of his attacks. He'll put ice cubes in front of you, and then if you stand in front of them, he'll kick them at you for impact damage, as well as lob projectiles at you. So he can be pretty hard to deal with.
He's a cool boss if you like actually fight him.
Yeah, I agree. Whatever. So I accidentally moved one too many times. So that means that my step counter is wrong. So we'll just save and then hope that I don't get into an encounter. If I do, I've got one escape in the folder that might drop. Okay. There's like a maybe 25% chance. Okay, this is where we use the mail access point. So we basically hand delivered an email right there. That's the future for you. And now we can go to the next area. But first you have to enter the metro line and then exit in order to trigger a cutscene. If you forget to do that and go all the way to Dentown, then you just have to come back and waste a lot of time.
I think that got me in the race. I did.
It's a pretty common mistake for
It's-
new runners.
It's honestly not very well designed. And again, that race was incredibly casual.
The game makes a lot more sense when you like watch the cutscene and talk to people.
Yeah, I mean, most games do. Really.
Yeah, yeah. So we're just going to go into this base here, which is actually an air filtration system to pick up Quake 3, which is a really good chip. And we'll be doing another folder edit here. Let's save. I saved before the folder edit in case I like mess it up. That way I can just reset. Because if you mess up a folder edit, then the run's basically dead. I don't have backups yet. And we're going to put in Quake and Tri-Spear. Oh. We're going to read the second email. And we're going to save. And now this is another audio cue. It's actually the same audio cue we used for Gutchman because it's the same window, but with different chips. I think I was a little late. It's like right after that beat. So we're going to take Tri-Spear and then Gut Shoot. Tri-Spear is G-coded as is Gut Shoot. Since he's got 600 health, I could have used the same setup as Stoneman, 2 dash attacks, but it's hard to get all 5 chips what you want, so having one less to deal with is actually really good. So we can use Tri-Spear and then use those dash attacks to just increase the window range. That's cool, man. He's actually a really difficult boss. All of the things he does hit very hard, and he's got a lot of health. But we get an access point that we'll use later.
A lot of the like semi-optional bosses are pretty hard in this game, especially.
Yeah, especially Sharkman.
Sharkman is awful.
Oh, whoops. Okay, so we got to read this top email. So apparently there's a virus affecting the car's auto drive system. So cars are crashing into each other. And World 3 is selling an antivirus for 1 million zenny.
It's about the best get-rich-quick scheme I've ever heard of.
Yep. Sell antivirus for your own virus.
Yeah. I mean, it is basically like Norton, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to use Quake 3 in a lot of these fights. I'm going to move up, fire one buster shot, trick him into moving down, and then get a double kill with Quake 3. Quake 3 is really nice. It explodes in a plus shape. There we go. For 150 damage, so you can use it to get multi-kills in a lot of these fights.
Pretty versatile.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, can someone do me a favor and like permaban head crab? That's not a joke. Just like do it. Perfect.
And then when you get to the end, you fix the lights so the cars stop.
There's a lot of unique chips in this section that you get.
World 3 is down here trying to sell people. You talk to them, and this person's nice. You talk to them, and you're like, they're going to pay triple. And then you say, calm down. He's like, hey, you're right. I don't even have a driver's license. So it's like, she can't even drive. It was buying the car fixing. Then we get a cutscene here. Let's skip. And now we just have to go around and fix all the traffic lights. So these are all like kind of short dungeons.
They're actually pretty fun, honestly. There's a lot of pretty cool viruses here as well.
Yeah, things start to like pick up, get a little stronger. The comps seem more interesting at first, but once you look at them, they're actually kind of linear. Oof.
Yeah.
I messed up my walking there a little bit.
I do like the jellyfish viruses in this comp because they are the first to teach you, hey, you can kind of just move through things that go towards you.
Well, it's actually like a frame perfect dodge in order to move through those. But yes, that is something that you can do.
Is that frame perfect?
Yeah, at least this one is.
I was sure it was easier than that.
Ooh, I think that's a little late. Okay, no. So you got the triple kill there, and we're gonna pick up Red Wave actually. So, thing you were just talking about. The V3 is definitely frame perfect. The others might not be, but I think they all move at the same speed. And then here's the other one, and we're just gonna go Quake 3. Quake 3 solves a lot of problems, honestly.
I mean, it might be frame perfect. I just get the feeling that it feels very consistent.
I would not agree. Okay.
I mean, maybe it's easier for some other things like time bomb explosions.
Possibly. I just meant waves specifically. Okay.
I know you can move through a lot of things to dodge the damage, like shockwaves.
Well, Shockwave not, but like the guy hammers.
Through a shockwave.
Shockwave exists on multiple tiles at the same time, so definitely not that. There are a lot of attacks that you can do there, so I agree there. So this is Traffic Comp 3, so there's another folder edit that I need to do. Gotta keep stacking the deck. Okay, there. So I put in a couple more things that we picked up. And we can continue. We put in the second escape chip. So now that I've got 2 in the folder, it'll be a lot more common of a draw, which will be important later on. For now, we're still going to try and pick up as many chips as we can. So use Quake 3. And there we get Quake 2C. So I've got Quake 3C and I got Quake 2C. So keeping the code the same means that we can draw both of them, which will be important for one fight later on. And exactly one fight, actually. I actually got a lot of distance without a random encounter, which is really nice. I was thinking we'd get 3 encounters in this comp, but we actually managed to cut it down to 2, which is nice because there's 2 chips we want to get. So that means the third one would just be one that we ran away from. Here I'm gonna shoot twice, throw it, get hit, and then fire 1 shot. And that'll get Fire Sword. So I'm holding start to skip that text right there. And I should be able to get out of here without an encounter. Okay.
How many of these comps are there again? I thought there were like 4.
There's 4 corners and then the finals in the middle. So there's 5 total.
Right.
The 5th one's a little different though. Oops. So again, just the RNG manipulation is precise movements to maintain your step counter, and then saving and resetting to restart the RNG. And it's just that combination in different ways that allow us to do RNG manip.
Is that Dino Wave C ever gonna get used, or?
Yeah, actually in the same fight that Quake 2 gets
Yeah,
used.
that's what I was wondering.
Yep.
I was wondering if it was C code for some purpose.
Yep. Because otherwise it would be better to get a fight with a single Matar, and I think off up a rank 9 you get like Dino Wave K.
Yeah.
So the double kill was sort of necessary to bump it up to S rank in order to get Dino Wave C. Alright, this next fight actually is a little inconsistent because we're using dash attack. Oh. I should probably just reset. I wiggled too much, so I'm not going to get it. Yeah. The movement is very specific. So since I kind of slipped on the D-pad there, I messed it up. That's like the risk reward of chaining. I have to redo this fight again in order to do the next one. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is the fight, and we're going to use dash attack and heater. And depending on how many of those waves you pass through, that affects RNG differently. So there's like basically a 2/3 chance that I get the chip. There's a 1/3 chance that I just get Zenny instead, but we have a backup chip that we can get if needed. That takes care of all of the lights. So now we just gotta stop the bus in the middle, because our friend is on the bus. And supposedly it's going to explode.
Supposedly.
So we gotta stop that.
I mean, realistically, it's the first actually threatening thing they've done.
Yeah, I mean, in one of the cutscenes we skipped, cars were literally slamming into each other and exploding.
Yeah. That generally shouldn't happen.
Yeah. Well, just hope it was like auto-driving cars that were moving in between passenger pickups.
Considering this game, I wouldn't know if it's surprised.
No one dies in Battle Network.
I'm trying to think of a time when someone does, but I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, a lot of people just get wounded. No one actually dies.
Yeah.
But here we're turning each of the lights red. So that's why each one of those like has a mini cutscene. And the nice thing is that also resets your step counter, so we can get out of here without any random encounters. Because the longer you run, the farther up in the encounter curve you get. The odds of getting an encounter at each check, which happens, oops, that's not right, every 64 steps, caps out at 50%. Okay. So now the bus is trapped, and we can finally stop the Navi on it. This is a boss fight, so we're going to use another audio cue here. That might be a little early. It happens in between like two of the major beats. And we won't know until the fight starts. Okay, yeah, that was a little early.
That did not look good.
We're looking for, obviously, Gut Shoot as well as Tri-Spear. Colorman's a pretty annoying boss because of the two dolls in front of him. They block a lot of your attacks. I guess we'll run with it.
That looks doable.
So I'm supposed to get Tri-Spear. Instead I got Heater, so I'm going to need to do 20 damage to something.
Is there a reason you're saving the power-ups?
Just because you have to menu to use them. I'm going to go ahead and get hit to knock him out of this attack pattern. Whenever the dolls get in front of you, they'll stop to attack. Shockwave's good, or shotgun. We can hit him afterwards. don't know why I didn't get Tri-Spear. I guess the window must have just been a little off. Or getting Heater since it's G-coded worked just as well then. Got Tree Dentures. Don't ask why.
I keep forgetting about that one.
And this is something that I didn't know, and I think a lot of people don't know, is that if you go talk to Yai, you can deliver the souvenir you picked up from Dentown, and she'll give you 10,000 zenny for it. But if you instead go talk to your mom and start the next scenario, you won't be able to do it. So I think once you enter the power plant is the cutoff, because then you can't go back. So it's a very easy thing to miss. It's like a free 10,000 zenny too.
10,000 zenny in this game's pretty big, especially at this point of the game.
Yeah. It'll buy a lot of upgrades.
Why are you going to Six Flags?
I'll talk to him. Hey, if you take like another 50 minutes, I can go. Alright, so now we just gotta talk to all these people. And here's your dad, and he's gone.
Standard for this family.
Yeah, it's weird. He's never around whenever trouble happens. Like right now.
Right on cue.
So we're somewhere underneath Scilab, and the power shut off. So everyone's worried about suffocating. Lan goes and jumps down a garbage chute to get to the power plant. And that's pretty standard.
I mean, he's kind of an action hero, and he has to do those kinds of things.
He's
Right?
the only one that ever does anything. So I'm going to save in case I mess up this first part. Once you enter the power plant, you can't actually jack out again, so I can't reset my step counter. So if any of these setups mess up, I could be in a bad situation. This is the power plant. It's my least favorite casually, and it's my least favorite in the speedrun as well.
This is everyone's least favorite,
Yeah.
I think, just in general.
Forgot to wiggle. It happens a lot. But yeah, I picked up a used card at Battle Network 1, and it was like right here. So, not surprised at all. So here we're going to use Red Wave. Red Wave and Quake 3 solve a lot of problems, just because of their area of effect nature. And when you talk to this prog, he actually gives you a battery. The gimmick for this dungeon is that you have to go find the prog who gives you batteries, and then take them to the boxes. And then there's multiple boxes, and you have to figure out which one corresponds to which piece of the invisible pathway. So there's a lot of trial and error. And the idea was that each battery's got 2 charges, so you would use the batteries twice. And if you got it wrong, you'd go back to the prog, who would then recharge them. But most people just like, I turned too soon. Dang. Most people will just save and reset in front of the batteries.
It's a lot faster casually to just save and reset.
I turned too soon. This is sort of a long stretch. Okay, there. And here we're actually getting an encounter right next to the battery box that we need, and we're going to escape from it. So you actually haven't seen me use the escape chip too much. This is one place I'll use it a lot more. I'm going to save because I need to pause buffer this turn, and if you miss it, your step counter's thrown off and you have to reset. So it's just sort of a safety save. We'll be pause buffering a lot of turns, which is one reason this is like not a fun comp. Because you have to be very specific with your step counter in order to maintain the RNG manipulation. Ratons are like a pretty nasty virus as well. They're not so bad in 1, but in the later games they get a lot worse.
I mean, in 1 they can be pretty nasty, but usually it's a later variety add-on that'll really get you.
Yeah, especially in 2 where they had the panic mode.
Yeah, panic mode is pretty great.
This is kind of playing to, like I said, the power plant has a lower encounter curve, so you're able to cover a lot more distance, and it to compensate, it's just a longer comp in general though.
It's pretty long. So yeah, it takes about a couple hours to get through casually.
And you'll start to see viruses in here that are like evil Mr. Progs. Those guys are actually really scary, especially the V3 version, because they'll area grab you and then they do like a circular attack and you can't dodge. So previously, like before this run started to use RNG manipulation, it was very common to die in Power Plant 3 and 4 just because of some of the virus combinations that get thrown at you.
Do you ever encounter the evil Mr. Progs as the overworld version? Like, I'm assuming not, because why would you waste that time?
Oh, you mean like you talked to one of them?
Yeah.
No. That was a consideration because it's a fixed fight with a single one. But because it's dialogue, you couldn't necessarily get full RNG manipulation. It would be like a partial.
Right.
And we can just as well like walk into them. So it was considered, but ultimately none of those were faster. And here's where you're going to get to see one actually attack. That's the move that they use. And then they'll area grab, so eventually you won't be able to dodge it. And here, since we're near the end, and because you can take like 1,000 steps instead of the usual 300 before you get your first encounter check, we can just walk out of here like normal. And this is Power 3. This is the single longest area in the game because of the amount of backtracking that we'll have to do.
It's really long.
Oh, forgot to wiggle. Like that doesn't look right. We're supposed to get this. Because we're going to get Reno bit?
Yeah, should be a little bit.
Because we got Thunder earlier.
I'm gonna assume you won't be using that chip despite the C code.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most of the chips we pick up simply for a key item that we'll need later on that requires a library of 60 unique chips. Which every time I save and reset, you can kind of see the current progress on that. If you read quickly. And now we'll be escaping from most of these fights. Alright, so in Area 3, you get 3 batteries, and you have to reuse them a lot. And we'll be pause buffering a lot of turns. Fortunately, the correct locations aren't randomized, so we are able to work around it, but it does require a lot of additional movement and resets to do so. Yes. The way that the RNG is handled changes in each game, and this is the only one that you can do complete manipulation in. The movement is similar in all of the games, however its connection to the RNG is further removed. In 2, you can do about half of the stuff that you can do in 1, and then in 3, the only thing we can really do is manipulate, do folder stacking, and manipulate a couple random encounters, although it's additional setup. So 1 is rather unique in its RNG manipulation.
And 6 lets you kind of get away with it with Slip Runner.
Slip Run in 6 will help reduce encounters, but it in no way is manipulating them.
Yeah,
So-
no, but
So, yeah,
essentially, if you slip run just about everywhere, you won't get any encounters, really?
no, because your step counter goes up while you're slipping. It reduces the number of encounter checks, which has a similar effect as auto run in Battle Network 5, where it does help reduce encounters. Oh, dang it. I'll let go B for a second there. When you switch from running to walking, sometimes your step counter will get thrown off by 1 if you resume running on an odd step. So I needed to reset just to be sure. Because if your step counter's off by even 1, it can throw things on. Because we're like maybe half done with this area.
This area is actually way too long.
Because they wanted you to like gain access to the next area. Too soon. And then have to open a shortcut back, return to the previous area, collect the batteries, and then did I turn the power off? I think I did. I just don't remember. Because I ran into the switch, but I don't remember if I talked to it.
I think I looked for a way for a second when you talked to
Yeah, because it's just one text box. Oh, it's too soon. So I need to slide in between the battery boxes to get this next one. And we're just manipulating escapes for the rest of these. I've gotten all the ships that I need for this area. And you can see that the batteries bar is drained, so we're going to have to recharge the batteries 1 time in order to get out of this area. You have to use each one 3 times, and they have 2 charges, fortunately.
There was something regarding the step counter I was wondering about. Does it only count if you're actually moving?
Yes, it only counts if you're moving. If you're running into a wall, it doesn't affect things.
Okay. I'm guessing hence all the setups that involve corners, where
Yeah.
it's consistent that you get into a corner at the exact spot every time.
Yep. Corners, walls, anything like that you have to use. If you travel the same distance running and walking, it will end up being the same steps. If you're, well, for the most part. When you include various diagonal movements, sometimes that's thrown off. But in general, the same distance covered will result in the same number of steps taken. Running is just twice as fast, so twice the distance, half the time. And doubles your step count as well. Oh. So now we get another folder edit. Almost done with these. China Wave and Quake 2. So we're putting in the C-coded chips for actually a fight coming up really soon. So 3 took forever, but 4 is a lot shorter. Because it's only got 1 puzzle instead of 3, and there's no backtracking.
Oh god.
Felt like I might have cut one of those corners wrong. No. So this is actually a really terrifying fight, and you would probably die if you weren't RNG manipulating. at least with the chips that we have. But because I've got Quake 3C and Dynamo FC, I can like multi-hit all of them and get rings at 3. The level 3 evil progs move really fast, and they'll area grab pretty much after each attack. So before your first turn ends, you usually only have 1 column of tiles left.
They're pretty terrifying.
But that's it, we survived the power plant.
Man goes and tries out a really bad idea.
Yeah, we'll watch that actually. Oh no, I can't watch that because it's part of the manipulation. Well, okay, what I'll do. I'll know what I'll do. So this is the Lek Man. He's unkillable. After you do 50 damage, he'll heal the full. So it's a scripted fight. After the first 3, then you get a little cutscene. Where Mega Man says, my attacks aren't working. So we'd save reset, and then you, like, in order to drain his power, Lan's like, I'll turn the generator off. So he does get electrocuted to do it. And then that leads directly into the Lek Man fight. So we're gonna do RNG manipulation instead. So Tri-Sphere was in the 5th slot. Now parity is a thing here where even and odd frames sort of matter. And depending on which slot Tri-Sphere's in, you might have to shoot your buster 1 time to flip it. But we let him move 4 times, hit him with Tri-Sphere and gut shoot. And now we're gonna hold start, because this is, I think, the only time that one fight actually changed into another. So we go straight from the Lek Man fight to the Proto Man fight. And so by letting him move each time and firing the buster shot or not, allows us to manipulate both fights. So we can open draw, gut shoot on Proto Man, and he's dead right there.
Proto Man casually is actually really annoying, but
Yeah.
anything time stopping just destroys him.
Yeah. Cool. So we do that. We talk to Mom, and then just shout outs to Wiley here. He collected all of the super programs. Such programs. Yeah. This came out in 2001, just for reference.
I would not be surprised if that's
So-
actually where that started.
So we give the old guy his tree dentures, and he gives his Recuv 80. So. I think I'm supposed to buy Den. I don't know. We'll sort it out. Yeah, Den. We need to find Chad right now, so you have to talk to this scientist to find out where he is. Otherwise, he won't appear there. He's just in Den Town interrogating people, accusing them of working for the World 3, basically being a terrorist.
What a profession.
He's very enthusiastic about his job.
I forget, are we gonna see Higsby one more time before the end of this one?
Oh, yeah. We'll see Higsby real soon. So he's trying to get into the internet, so he's just yelling at people, hoping that'll work.
I'm not sure why he thought that would be a good idea.
But we do know someone that used to work for the World 3. So if you remember in the second scenario, Higsby actually took over the school and was trying to brainwash all the children into being World 3 slaves. And like the next day, he opens up a chip shop down the street from the school. No one has any problem with this either.
Of course not.
So let's go to Higsby's. And we're gonna buy 3 things: X panel, fast gauge, and get them. Not because we're gonna use them, just because they're unique chips. And then just check out that hair. So we have a conversation with Higsby. He gives us his memo, and then we go on our way. So you'll see Higsby, I think, one more time, but that's basically it. So now we have everything we need to get sort of deeper into the internet, to the undernet, which is where World 3 is supposedly hiding.
I'd like to mention the chip trader.
Oh yeah.
chip traders give you some pretty interesting things, like Navi chips of bosses you haven't seen.
Yeah. There's a 3-chip trader and a 10-chip trader, and you put in whatever you want, and it gives you something random. Oh, I wiggled too much.
Is there a difference between the 3-chip trader and the 10-chip trader in this one?
Yeah, each one pulls from a different list. And
Okay.
basically, there's a 25% chance that you get a chip from the list, and a 75% chance that you get a chip that you already have.
Right.
So you sort of rarely get one that you don't have, but it can happen. Such as
I
like
mean,
the navies that you have.
1 out
already
of
got.
4 isn't that rare.
Well, it's 1 out of 4 that you get a chip from the list, and you might have
Yeah,
some of the
okay.
chips on the list.
That's true.
So buy some HP memories and power-ups, and as well as a hammer. So I got 12,500 left, right? And now we're just gonna save and reset. So we've been collecting HP memories and power-ups throughout the run, and those will be important sort of in the middle of the scenario. And we're just gonna escape from this,
I mean, in some sense, HP memories are already important.
I suppose.
You can at least already see the effects that they're having, namely plus 20 health per.
Yes. I don't know if we damage boost or anything. Maybe.
I'm not sure.
So this is Internet Area 2. This is where Stoneman was, but instead of going left, we're going to go right. Internet Area 2 is probably the most confusing internet area because it's got the most branches to it. And we're going to go use Miyu's link that we picked up a while ago. But we're going to pick up a couple more chips first, like mine one there. We're going to use Red Wave a couple more times. Red Wave's a cool chip. I stopped.
Did they just leave for Six Flags? Okay. Apparently it's necessary. I wouldn't know, I can't hear it.
Nor can anyone else.
Good call.
Okay, but I should get an encounter. Okay, this is what was supposed to happen. I just messed up my movement. So this is a hard head. I'm gonna do 3 buster shots and then toss the wave. Oh, too soon. Oh well.
They are really annoying to S rank, I know that.
Yeah. Because to get their chip, you generally have to S rank them. You can get it with rank 10 or rank 9 if you're very lucky. So you need to find an encounter that has them and one other virus so you can get a multi-kill. And typically you'd use like some AoE time stop chip, like a Navi. But we're just going to use Red Wave. Because we want Howitzer or something else later. So 3 buster shots and I'll wait a little longer. Sort of where it gets, when the custom bar gets to the C, and then S ranking you get Howitzer. And we're actually going to chain this into the next area. So you can hold B to advance text at a consistent rate, which allows us to maintain RNG manipulation without having to do any additional resets. And can chain it through to this area. So this is the longest chain in the route, and it's 3 fights. Now I just have to get to the end. And yeah, we just trick them into jumping into the blast radius of the Quake. And then I actually interact with the access point there because that's one of quite a few things that will reset your step counter, which allows me to get a little farther and cut out one of the randoms that used to be in this area. So we get 3 instead of 4.
Even these are fun.
Yeah, there's actually one area in Dentown where if you go into the blackboard, it'll have the V3 version of those guys. And so you can access them pretty early. And they'll kill you quick if you're not ready for them. Okay. I pushed A too soon, so I didn't actually use the chip. So we gotta go back to here. This area is giving me trouble. That's the first time I've ever messed up that fight in particular, though. I knew it would happen eventually. The Handy's got 200 health, though, so there's no one chip that we can use to beat him. So you have to use Tri-Sphere, fire one Buster Shot, and then move to cancel the Buster animation so that you have time to dash before he ducks. That's a bit better.
That's pretty tight.
Yeah. And we get Time Bomb too. Now we're at the end of the area. Oops. You can save off the save or network menu either way.
Does it change?
No, it doesn't.
Like,
But we use whichever one's closer in the menu. And here you hold B to advance the text, so that way we get exactly the chips we want. I'm going to use 3, 2, and Dino Wave. So I'm going to use movement to sort of time my attack. Get hit, throw this, step back, and use Dino Wave. And this is where the C-coded chips come in. So we dealt with that pretty nasty fight very quickly using various Quakes and other C-coded chips. So save here just in case. And here we're going to do pretty much the final folder edits. Grab the shotgun, Buffalo Gutsman. Rifle? Okay. I lost my place in the notes, but I believe that's right.
well, if it's not, you'll find out. won't you?
Yeah. Just had to like double check things. Oh, I didn't switch down. How you do the folder edit doesn't matter as long as things end up in the same position. So I have like written down the most optimal way to do them, and that's what we sort of practice, but memorizing folder edits is kind of hard. And here I'm going to use movement for timing. I can fire the Tri-Sphere, and then one Buster Shot in the heater. So we can pick up Wood Tower. We almost have the 60 unique chips that we need.
Up to like 58, I want to say?
I'm not sure.
57. I'm guessing this is 58.
Yep. So Big Bomb is actually a really nice chip. I like having a lot of them sort of casually because it just, if you throw it in the middle, it hits the entire enemy area and it does a reasonable amount of damage. So I like non-time stop AoE chips.
Quake is always a good one in that scenario. Big Bomb's nice, but at some point the damage starts being a bit lackluster. It does like, what, 100? Less.
Yeah, it doesn't do much damage, this is true. And here, I hold the B button to advance the text, so that way we don't have to save reset. Instead, we can just continue the chain all the way to the net dealer here. And I'm going to buy wood armor, and I've got 500 Zenny left. And that's all the upgrades that we need to purchase in the game. So it's done. So now we've found the Undernet, but we need more memos in order to access the deeper parts. Which is why we're going to go to talk to a couple of people that Higsby knows, former World 3 operatives. They're going to check our strength, essentially look at the library and Mega Man's level, and if they think we're strong enough, they'll tell us how to get to the Internet server, or the World 3 server in the Internet.
That's the final scenario before endgame, isn't it?
Yep. We basically got to get 2 bomb men who's guarding the entrance to the World 3 area, and then after that, we'll be able to start the final day.
The final day. It sounds so menacing. When most of the crimes in this have been, wow, we lit someone's oven on fire.
Yeah. Polluting the water supply is pretty drastic.
Okay, that is pretty drastic, actually. At the same time, polluting it, that's great soda.
Yeah, it's fine. It was an upgrade. So we're gonna go over here and grab barrier R, and that should be the 60th chip. So now when we go talk to this person, check your library, and I'm missing one. Oh, I forgot to trade for howitzer.
Oh,
Yeah, one reason we pick up howitzer is because you can trade it for a chip, so it's like a 2-for-1 deal. But what we'll do instead is we'll just go pick one up in here.
this is the blackboard that has the dynamite viruses.
Yep, this is probably one of the most dangerous comps in the game, and you have access to it far earlier than you really should. There's a power-up over here, though, so like, it's good to pick up early, but at the same time, you risk getting a really bad encounter.
Burner is a chip you don't have, is it?
Correct. I don't think its movement does RNG. I'm pretty sure just coming into contact with it and the other thing. So yeah, we're able to get burner. So that should put us at 60. Cool.
That's a pretty decent backup.
Yeah. It used to be on the route, but since it's like completely optional, it ultimately got cut, replaced by things that are more on the route, like chips in the traffic comps.
Makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of time went into the route, looking at all the options, because there are a lot of options. Oh, we got the power up, but I forgot to use them, so I'm going to put them into attack and charge. And this puts us at level 30, which is exactly what we need to be to get the paw memo. So now we have all the memos that we need, and instead of going through Lance PC and Internet 1 and 2 again, we opened a shortcut using Dad's computer, which is conveniently located right next to the Internet, so we can quickly get back to where we left off.
Gee, sure it's convenient for Dad that he's connected right to all
I
this
know.
suspicious stuff. And he disappears every time it happens, too.
There's a lot of unanswered questions in this game.
I think there's a lot of unanswered questions in the whole series, honestly.
Ah, that's true, that's true. So again, the specific movement and the resets are to maintain step counter as well as RNG, to do RNG manipulation so we don't get encounters, or at least don't get encounters that we don't want, in general. Hope you guys like the background. You're going to be seeing it for a while.
That is, I think, the one major improvement made to later games in this series is that every internet area actually becomes unique. Like, let's say Dentown has its own network, then it's going to look different from ACDC's network, instead of everything having the big golden playing in the background.
For sure. 2 is actually like my favorite in the series. Oh, I turned too soon. Ah.
So from now on, you're just looking to draw as many escape chips as possible, right?
Yep. We've gotten all the chips we need for the library. We've gotten all the upgrades we need. At this point, it's just go fast.
What is your favorite boss in this game?
And one?
In one.
It's hard to say. They all die like instantly.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Including post-game stuff, then? Maybe?
Post-game stuff? Well, I mean, base is the default answer there.
I guess. Man, base is a massive pain in this game, though, to get to.
Yeah, just because he's like a complete... You have to get all but one chip in your library, and then he's a random encounter.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's pretty obnoxious.
Mm-hmm. At least we have RNG manipulation. Base is actually really easy to find once you learn about RNG manipulation, though.
I was messing with RNG manipulation just to like get S ranks on certain bosses of certain parts of the internet, but I could never get it to work.
It's like, if you just look at these videos and try and figure out how it works, it can be a little difficult. Once you understand it, though, it is reasonably straightforward, as much as RNG manipulation can be.
I know I was trying to farm Iron Man chips, and I was trying to find a consistent way to get them to show up. I couldn't find any, though.
Okay. So, coming up is Bomb Man. And he's guarding the path to World 3. So, we're actually going to do some kind of neat on him. An attack he does is he'll summon bombs on his side of the area, which I think have like 50 health. They block your attacks essentially, but if you hit them with a fire attack, they'll explode, and if they're on his side of the field, when they explode, they do damage to him. So by using Heater, you hit him with Heater and the explosion of one of the bombs to deal additional damage. Open with Tri-Sphere, and then finish with Gut Shoot, and you can do 800 damage in 7 seconds.
The heater on the bomb is like a very, very early version of one of the most popular Battle Network free folders, what with Prism and Heat Spread.
Yeah.
It's kind
Sort
of
of.
the same idea.
Yeah. It's similar to how like Black Bomb works in later games.
Oh yeah, Black Bomb too.
So we told Dad that we found the address to the World 3 server, and he says that we can't go fight him. We say please, and then he says, okay, you can go fight them. So now we're going to go to bed, and then tomorrow he's going to tell us how to get to the World 3 headquarters so we can confront Wily.
I can't even imagine that conversation, to be honest. Can I go fight them? No. Really? Why not? Yeah, okay, you can fight them. Thanks, Dad.
Hey look, Dr. Wily's on TV. Right, we're going to go over here and pick up the World 3 pass. And now we're actually going to go to the Metro line and be like, can you tell me where the train to the World 3 is? They don't know. So we're going to go try and find it ourselves. And if you remember back in scenario 2, Higsby was posing as a substitute teacher. Well, he actually got here using a secret underground metro line, which was right in front of the school the whole time.
How did nobody notice?
I don't know. You'd think they would have heard the train at some point, but I guess they're just like, it's the metro line.
I mean, at this point, I think everyone in that school at some point has taken the metro line. They should know roughly where it heads. If it doesn't head under the school, then what?
Like I said, there's a lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah.
But then when we don't play these games for the plot, we play them for the combat. So go to Dad's lab.
Which Battle Network game has your favorite combat?
Probably 6. I think 6 has some of the most fun combat because it's like very well refined. 3 is one of the better games in general, and it's got a lot of interesting ships, so if you like folder building, 3 is probably the best one. 2 is my personal favorite though, just like for nostalgia.
Alright.
I really like the post-game in 2.
Oh yeah, 2 post-game is really good. I think I like 6 best personally, but 6 has like an overabundance of things that are completely broken.
Yeah, everything got like a power boost in 6.
Crosses, extremely good.
Yeah.
And then you get, what's it called? Beast Out, and that's really
yeah.
good. And then all the program advances are incredibly good. It's like everything in that game is good to the point where it kind of becomes a joke at times. 3 sometimes has that issue, but not everything is as completely busted.
Yeah. those 3 people gave us memos, and so World 3 kidnapped them and tied them up and left them at the front door. I don't know. And here's the final folder edit. Alright, good folder edit. I had to put the escape in a different slot just because the encounters we get it's in a different location. Ooh. We'll just assume that that's perfectly fine. I mean, if it's not, I can just reset.
And the gimmicks of
Start of
that.
the area. Yeah, so this is essentially the boss rush that is common in Battle Network or common in Mega Man games, except for some reason they forgot to include the bosses. So this is the bossless boss rush. Instead, you just sort of revisit a modified version of each of the areas. I like what they did with them, though. I feel like some of the puzzles in these versions of the comps are a lot better than the actual comps.
Yeah. I still don't like the power plant though.
Yeah. At least there's no batteries in that one.
Yeah, that's true.
Just invisible pathways.
Invisible pathways are pretty obnoxious. Shouts to Battle Network 5 where they hide a secret boss behind one. Still don't understand that decision.
The encounter rate in this comp is actually, I think, highest in the game. It's definitely increased from the average, partly because like it's one of the in-game comps and
It's pretty short.
yeah, so they want you to like get into more encounters for less steps. And then this is the school scenario, but instead all random doors. 24 is a good number, I'll take that. Each door will reset your step counter. So as long as you save and reset immediately after, you can do manipulation. 96, okay. So we're gonna do 3 wiggles. 1, 2, 3. Real fast like.
How many guesses do you get at those before it resets? I thought
6.
like 6? Yeah.
And we've got a formula that will get it by 6 guesses, so we don't have to worry about resets.
Is it completely fail-safe?
Yeah.
Dang.
And there's a rocket that Dr. Wily's going to load up with a life virus, launch it into space, take control of the military satellites, and start the end game. That's the plan, anyway.
I mean, plans are nice, you know, but I don't know, if he had grand plans, maybe he should have picked his minions better.
That's true, they've not been that useful. Coming up with the setup for this one was kind of difficult because you need to do a diagonal slide across the ice, and it just worked out that we're able to get an encounter right where we need to slide.
That's really convenient.
Yeah, it took a while to find. Because like all of these setups are sort of trial and error based. And when you get to the end, oh, and this is Dr. Wily's Grape Soda Factory. Complete with skull. But when you get to the end of each of these, you encounter something that Mega Man can't get past, and one of his friends has to come and help him. So, power of friendship, yada yada yada.
I think more importantly is after they do that, you can actually fight them right then and there.
That's true. It
You
puts
choose to.
a lot of people in convenient locations that you can net battle. You can get their Navi chip. They actually moved too. If you go back to where they were originally, they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
I think just not everyone is in a convenient location for a rematch, other than the World 3 Navies, which are obviously all over the net.
Yeah, the Ghost Navies are hard to track down because it's just random. And the worst part is, for all of the Navies that you fight, there's a 50% chance that you just get Zinni. And this is the area that you've seen Dr. Wily in the whole time. You check out the portrait and it turns out it's a secret passageway with an electronic lock. You think they would just like put like an actual key on it, and then we get here and it's just like, well, we can't continue. There's no electronic lock, I can't hack it.
You think they even know the meaning of the word? Like, well, do they even use anything that's not electronic?
In this world, probably not.
Like, I don't know, man. Just a good old rusty key would probably keep out a lot of people in this universe.
Yep. Alright. And this is the last encounter before the final boss.
Here's the point of no return.
Yep. Magic Man's actually... Let's try that again. Come on. Turn, wiggle. Magic Man's actually really difficult because he can summon pretty much 2 of any virus to aid him. And he's constantly shooting fire down the middle. He's got 700 health, but in routing him, one thing we found out about him is that he doesn't have iframes. But he's dead. Now that's Magic Man.
His viruses are pretty special too. They have really weird interaction with a lot of chips in this game. The Thunderman Navi chip is supposed to hit everything on the field. It doesn't hit Magic Man's viruses or something.
Oh, interesting. They must have like unique properties or something.
They have really weird properties.
So now we're confronting Dr. Wily. He's got his finger in there. All he's got to do is push the button and he starts the end game, and I get a terrible encounter. Let's hopefully get an escape chip. These are some of the worst viruses in the game. But due to plot reasons, your buster stats are all maxed out. So even though I didn't put like any points in rapid or anything, like charge, attack, and rapid are all 6. So the buster charges fast, does a ton of damage, and has rapid fire.
I mean, it's more than maxed out.
Yeah, that's when we gotta escape. 2 encounters really quickly. I might get a third. You like never see that. It's on average 1. I'm gonna check something. So this is, it's fine. We got Gutsman, so this is good. This is Life Virus. He's the final boss. And he's got a 100 damage aura. He's one of the few enemies in the game that gets an aura. So you can like trick him into doing a life sword if you stand at the bottom like that. His attack pattern changes once he's below 500 health. And all the time he's summoning different elemental scuttles to aid him. Dash. Let's take Tri-Sphere and Gut Shoot. And each of the Scuttlists has a different attack to represent their elements. So like the fire one will shoot fire. Okay. Now we got Gut Shoot that we can finish him off with, so we just gotta wait for him to lower his barrier one more time. The time will be probably in like 30 seconds or less. We just gotta wait for him to explode, which takes a minute. And then we got a couple cutscenes. Which of course, from my good friend Dragoon. WWW forever. And time. 44. All right, I did mess up a couple things. Like the big time loss, I think, was getting Metcard A, because I had to go back and get Metcard G. Small things like that can really add up. But that was Mega Man Battle Network 1. 100 minutes of RNG manipulation.
I mean, not
Thank you.
That's good.
Thank you, people in the back. That's pretty much it. So just thank you to everyone here at the North American Speedrunner Assembly, aka NASA. It's been a lot of fun, and shout out to all my friends that run this game in Team BN. If you haven't played the series, check it out. It's got a really good combat system, and if you're a fan of the series and thinking about running it, you can just contact me or anyone else in Team BN, and we'll be more than happy to tell you what we know.